Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. This is Kero Riripado, and today we're sitting down with the Kevin, the director. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Hopefully you're being, hopefully you're good too, and hopefully you're staying safe out there.
Yes, I am. I'm staying safe. I'm pretty bored, but I'm safe, so it is what it is. I was
It's good
mentioning
to
right,
hear.
I was mentioning right before the beginning of this interview that as someone who seeks out cosplayers and photographers and people who are doing a lot of great things in the scene, you really stood out amongst everyone who I was looking for. Your videography is incredible. I think your editing skills are really great. The way you create awesome skits and content, not just with Power Rangers, but with cosplay, unboxing, and a whole bunch of other different things. I feel like you're a content creator that has a lot of years of experience, but you also are able to take your uniqueness and insert it into every single piece of work that you do. And I am really excited to talk about the creation process with you, your hobbies, and all of these other things.
Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Definitely, the cosplay and the Fire community have been very accepting, and they've been very fun to work with. And I definitely try to bring some kind of uniqueness to the videos, but I also try to make sure that every year the videos quality and storytelling level. I try to step it up every single year with something new.
And it definitely shows. For someone who's as prolific as you are, it's crazy to see the growth that you have from today to 2 years to 5 years ago because you started off very strong. And I can tell you're someone who's extremely passionate about this. You are living up to your name very well.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's jump right to the beginning. How did you
Okay.
discover cosplay? How did you get into directing? And how did that lead you to where you are today?
Cosplaying, I've discovered it through some friends. Like basically, my first convention was Con. This is towards the end of my high school life. And my friends, Dan, Sammy, and a couple other guys, they introduced me to this convention. And I'm like, this is awesome. And I saw the dealer's room. We had fun. And I started discovering cosplay a little bit more. And for me, I was like, can you cosplay anyone or just anime characters? Like, you can cosplay anyone. I'm like, I know what I'm going to do. And I just started cosplaying Johnny Depp characters because I was told that I had his look, particularly for Pirates of the Caribbean, Sweeney Todd, and I did the Joker. But later on, after I graduated college with my associate's and bachelor's degree, and I was working for this company. Back then it was called Vicare Media, but now it's called Studio Solutions, and they were training me to work with my new camera equipment, the DJI Ronin, along with the Atlas camera support system and trying to get smooth and stabilized shots. So I thought, you know what, I want to try this at a convention. So I took it to PAX South, and obviously I was filming at 30 frames per second without realizing I needed to have it at 60 frames per second. But I told myself if this video got more than 1,000 views, I would continue doing that, and that's what I've been doing. And after the first year and some of the months for season one and for half of season two, a lot of my friends say, you know what, make the shots last a lot longer. Don't have it just be like straight up, just like that, but also use copyright free music. And I started doing that after I got a new camera for Space City Comic Con. Now it's called Scam City Comic Con because the owner basically screwed a lot of people over. But yeah, no, the rest is pretty much history. Every single year I tried something new and different. And I know Mineral Blue, I asked him for his advice on what I could do to make the videos better. Rather than have the song be repeated like at certain intervals, he said, just use different songs. And that's what I've been doing ever since.
Yeah, so something that stood out to me with your videos almost immediately was they are super high quality, and also it's the music aspect. I think a lot of people forget the flexibility and luxury that creators have when you're creating video. Music is a huge part of it. Your music and the way that you have different songs going out throughout the length of a video, that makes it really interesting. And to be honest, I'm kind of the person where it's like I don't really need to have so many moving parts with the content that I consume, but I do want to be able to see someone put in a lot of effort, whether it's on the audio visual side. I do mixing mastering, so I enjoy that aspect, but you do every single thing. Like I could definitely tell you have a director's mind. You're not just someone who wants to get out a video every week, every month. You're someone who wants to create a piece of art that is going to last the test of time.
Yeah, no. For me, obviously songs. Um, I like to try and find songs that I truly think reflect my experiences at the convention. Whether they're good experiences, they're bad experiences, they're mixed feeling experiences, or they're kind of like that weird experience that you don't want to talk about ever again. But either way, I try to find songs that reflect my feelings for that weekend. And a lot nowadays, a lot of the places I've found songs have been on. One was a YouTube channel called No Copyright Sounds, and they have a lot of good songs in there. But I recently got an account. I think last year, once Mineral Blue told me, "Hey, get multiple songs on your videos." I'm like, "Okay, I'll do that." And I just got myself an Artlist account, and they have a lot of good songs there all the time. And it's a yearly subscription, and the best part is they always have music all the time. And I've been using that account not only for my YouTube channel, but I've also been using it for a lot of my freelance work with cosplay models, real estate agents, and any other potential client who wants to utilize my services as a videographer and an editor.
What really inspired you to start a YouTube channel focusing on the content that you're doing, and for all of the time that you've been putting into it and your growth over time, not just on YouTube but also on other social media platforms? I originally discovered you through Instagram. How did you kind of figure out, like, this is something I want to put a lot of effort into? As a freelancer myself, I understand sometimes it's difficult to handle work and all of these other projects, even if there is some overlap, just because you never really know how long something will go on for, and you don't want to start a project and then you're not able to make all of the deadlines. However, it seems that you kind of have that all figured out. I would love to hear about the genesis of your YouTube channel and how you find the balance.
Well, for me back then, in 2014 and 15, it was just not a couple of projects. Like back then, I was working a lot with MeanMug713. He's now growing his Twitch account, mostly because Twitch is actually treating their content creators and streamers probably a lot more fairly than YouTube is nowadays. But for me, him, Jujumar, Realty Dragon, and Cosplay with me are probably the primary reasons why I got into this. Like, we would always kind of do vlogs, hang out, and we would have these like nicknames. And I kind of, redug up my nickname from high school, which was the MySpace nickname, Kevin the Director, that I gave myself, and it just kind of stuck. And I decided, you know what, I want to do some videos. Like, one of them was a stop motion animation. It's gone now, but I'm probably going to bring it back on Instagram later on. But I really wanted to try something different, so I just like, let's try a skit. And I did some videos with Me Mug and a couple other guys, and we just did like the Robin Hood Men in Tights song, and that did very well. And I'm like, okay, I can actually do videos that actually get a lot higher viewership. Okay, that's cool. And I just was trying to catch up with Me Mug and Jules on their YouTube channel aspects. And for me, a lot of things with my job at Vicare Media is getting the product out with a high quality, with a finished look, at a reasonable time. So for me, whenever I make a YouTube video, I try to get it out. I try to get it done and out very quickly. So rule number one: transfer the files immediately onto your hard drive. And I have like a 5 terabyte hard drive that has very organized folders for everything from day one footage, day two footage, and in those files, folders, there's different subcategories: cosplayers, dealer's room, exhibitors, after parties, cosplay contests, whatever. I basically try to be as organized as possible. So when I go and edit the video, I start and then editing the cosplayer section. Once the cosplayer section is done, I then decide which cosplayer goes first, second, third, because I never want the same shot or the same location for the cosplayers. I want different locations, different looking cosplayers from different series. I guess for me, there's a saying that bad guys always say in the movies: if you want something right, do it yourself. And for me, that's something I had to learn how to do. Obviously, back in the beginning, I was very kind of slow, but I realized I need to get faster. I need to be Johnny on the freaking spot, and that's how I have to do these things. So that means if I have to kind of make sure my equipment's charged when I get into the room, I'm going to start charging up my equipment. If that means transferring the footage and start editing it, that's what I'm going to do. So that way, when I go out to an after party or go to dinner with my friends, I know that stuff's taken care of. So that way, on Monday, when I dive into creating this content, like WeCon, for instance, I was editing some of that on Sunday. When I was in Dallas on Sunday, and even Monday in the morning, when that's something I was doing constantly. So I basically had the video done and ready by Tuesday morning. Well, technically it was ready by a certain morning because with WeebCon I was working with the Art of Collab along with Isaiah Blue um, to basically make these videos happen. And Isaiah was covering for me for the after party, and I needed that after party for my end credits. And so that's what kind of I was waiting for. But anytime you do a video, you need to know how the video is going to look like, how it's going to be going, but more importantly, when you want to get it out. Do you want to get it out Wednesday? Do you want to get it out Thursday or Friday? The sooner you can get it out, the better, because the the fact that WeebCon happened like less than 3 to 4 days when I released the video, that means it's still hot. Because if you release it like 2 weeks later, it might not be as hot as it was. If you release a month later, it's not hot. I know this one content creator I helped to make a 4th of July video. He released it in August. And I'm like, that's not okay. It's like, what's the point of releasing a 4th of July video in August? That's like saying, hey, let's release a Christmas video in July. But then again, each person's their own person. So for me, I try to stay constant and I try to release something right when it's still hot and fresh. So that way, people are going to be like, I want to see what happened, whether it's reliving the moments that they experienced in the convention or people who weren't at the convention seeing what they missed. And another thing I try to include is dealer's room, events, people getting autographs, people having fun, everything. So that way it kind of gives them an overall sense of the scope of what they missed or what they are reliving.
That was very thorough, and a lot of your points I do agree with. And it seems like you don't just have the creative's mind, but you also have the mentality of someone who knows marketing very well. I know a lot of people, they tend not to realize how important it is to put something out in good time. Like you're saying, if you do a 4th of July video, having it out on the 5th, maybe that would be great, but maybe you can't. But it doesn't take forever to release it. And then when you do that, you do miss the wave. If you're releasing your Anime North content months after the event, it's like, well, there's already another event coming up. Not to say that it's invalid. Like, I do believe that content is evergreen, but it's also how relevant is it going to remain, especially when it comes to video content. And also something else that I noticed with your videos is that you have so much great footage. And from what you're telling me with like the pre and the post production, you really do kind of like, tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems like you have an idea of how you want this video to look. So you get the source material to as close as possible, and then it makes the editing process a lot easier. That's something that I know a lot of content creators, and hell, even me, I've made those mistakes. But through trial and error, did you come to develop these habits, or was it just always kind of ingrained in you to be very prepared and understand how much effort you have to put into each step of the content creation process?
Well, for me, a lot of my habits are based on my on-the-job experiences. Like with Vicare Media, there was a shoot we had to do in Dallas, and I didn't get enough sleep, and we were late. And for me, I always make sure I'm there early. I'm there like at least 30 minutes to an hour before the shoot, and I'm there 30 minutes to an hour after the shoot if needed. Or if they don't need me there for the entire time, then I just leave work. But I make sure to get all the shots needed to tell the story. But for me, no one's going to tell you what equipment needs to be charged. No one's going to tell you what equipment you're going to need. It's best to have all the equipment there, charged, packed, and ready. Like right now, all my equipment's charged, packed, and ready. I was supposed to do a shoot with a client on Friday after my work shift, but he had some personal issues to deal with, and we were supposed to try to do something this week, but he's still kind of dealing with those personal issues. But Monday we're working together. But still, for me, the first and most important thing is getting the equipment charged up, because you never know when you're going to be on call. You never know when you're going to need to shoot something. Because if you don't have something charged up, guess what? There's no one else to blame but yourself. So for me, when I get home, I make sure everything's charged. Lights, cameras, drones, audio equipment. Even if I need to put AA batteries, I have an entire drawer full of AA batteries ready to go. So if something's like at like the one bar on like my audio equipment, I just take that out and put 2 fresh batteries in and good to go. But aside from that, no one's going to tell you when you're going to need it. But it's best to be overly prepared than underprepared, because when you're underprepared, you look like the unprofessional. And for me, I'd rather try to come off as professional as possible.
What conventions have you been to, and what conventions are you looking forward to going to when everything starts to open back up at full or close to full capacity?
Um, I've been to a lot of different conventions actually. I've been going to cons since 2005, and I've been to a little over 100 different events. Some events I've been to more than once, others I've been to the first time. Um, for instance, I actually was up in Canada back in 2019 for a convention called Gettycon. That was actually a fun con. I like that location because
Sick.
it is beautiful scenery, and honestly, just everyone there was so easy to work with. And I think my only complaint, not about the convention, but it's more like a complaint on the American Airlines institution. I will never fly with them again. I'll explain the story another time to you after the show. But no, like I always like trying new conventions, particularly one where I know people, a lot of my friends are going to be there, but a lot of cosplayers are going to be there. But I also do a little bit of research, like does this kind of have good searchability? Like I look up on YouTube, does it get good hits on searchability? If it does, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to try and go to this. But also, can I talk to the owners and say, hey, I can make some videos for you guys. Is there a way I can go there? But that's kind of like one thing I do is that for conventions like Ikicon, Val County Comic Con, Louisiana Anime, Anime North Texas, um, along with a couple others, they actually do hire me as a videographer to where not only do I make content for my YouTube channel, which promotes their convention, but I also create closing ceremonies videos for them. And I also make a commercial. Like right now, we're in post production for the Ikicon 2022 commercial. And my friend and colleague, Fox's Primetime, is doing the voiceover work. She's just got done doing the first round. She has to do kind of like a re recording of the voiceover according to the con director's notes. But for me, a lot of the conventions I go to are based on searchability. Do a lot of my friends going to be there? Is it a good location? Can I get a lot of good shots of cosplayers, those I know, those I don't know? Because a lot of the cosplayers I work with, the ones I continue, call my frequent collaborators, a lot of the times I just met them for the first time at a new convention, but I enjoy working with them so much. I can easily I can call them on the cell phone or message them on Instagram or Facebook, say, hey, are you going to this con? They'd be like, yeah, we're going to this con. And I'll be like, awesome, I'll see you there. And it's always fun. But I also like to make sure there's good after parties to go to for the end credits. But that's what I look nowadays. But again, it's searchability, which cosplayer is going to be there? Are there big cosplay names like Jessica Niguri, Yaya Han, um, so many big names out there, but it's also, can I actually work with them where it's not just working with them at their booth, but I can actually work with them privately on a location that's within the convention area, but will make their cosplay look amazing in production and even post production.
That's very calculated. I know a lot of people that are going to conventions and they're not even sure about their accommodations, or they don't know about the times for guests and stuff. But it's great. It's great to hear that you're very focused and you want to have the best possible experience when you go to a convention. I think also, especially as a content creator in today's day and age, we have so many resources at our fingertips that the real effort is just preparation and being open to opportunity. Like if you know that, like you said, there are going to be certain guests, or this is a convention where you can communicate with them to say, hey, maybe I can make some content for you guys or work alongside you guys for something. That's great for a content creator to not only network but to build up their skills as well. And quite frankly, it has definitely worked out for you. Like, the quality of your stuff is very high, and not just your skits, but like some of the people that have come through the content that you've made, it's amazing. Like it just like your Johnny Young Bosch video was so funny, but it was also so great because I can't imagine saying to someone, hey, like, do you have half an hour of your time or so? I want to do some shots. I would love to do this thing. And just the fact that you're able to do that and you're able to create such high quality work, that's really impressive. And I can tell you're definitely taking advantage of the capabilities that creators have in today's day and age.
Yeah, no, like for me, like whenever I can actually get an actual talent from Power Rangers or even a TV show, just get them. Like we don't actually get them for half an hour. That we're not that lucky. If we did, that would definitely be awesome. For Johnny and Bosch, I think we only had them for like maybe 5, 7 minutes, less than 10 minutes actually, probably less than that. But yeah, no, like it was very calculated shots. Originally, the idea was my friend Jules was wanting to actually meet with him, and he kind of, you know, was supposed to be like, he didn't realize that she was there, and my friends and I were going to try to beat him up as Power Rangers, and he kicked our butts. And in the end, I was like, Johnny, what'd you do? It's like, oh, Jules, hey. But we had to change it up a bit, and thankfully, we managed to make it look good. But no, like for me, whenever I work with a talent like that, particularly a well-known one, you don't want to take too much of their time. The most time you're going to need with them is maybe like 5 to 10 minutes. If you can get a lot longer time than that, particularly when they're down to really work on a project that they like, that's when you can really get a lot more uh, detailed with it. But if you have a short amount of time, you just work with what the best you got, and this is what I've been working with. So yeah.
That's actually really incredible. For me, I'm the kind of guy who, if I'm doing shoots, I do want to get as good of a quality from the original source as possible, but if I have like 7 minutes to do something like that, sort of like the anxiety of like you need to get good quality shots in this time frame and it's a short time frame. I don't know if I can necessarily work well under pressure like that or as well as I possibly can. I know some people they are able to grow out of that obviously with experience and they develop their skill set. Some people they don't necessarily work well with having to function on a short deadline, but it's actually incredible to hear that you're able to just take the opportunity of being able to work with great talent, no matter how short it is, how long it is, whatever, and you're still able to create the quality of work that you have. And the numbers show, the video itself shows your art really is something that's done very, very well.
Yeah, no, like for me, I've been very fortunate and lucky to do all that. I know right now one of the major projects I've been working on is a Pokemon Snap video. We just got done releasing part one. It didn't get the numbers I really was hoping for, but hopefully, numbers will be picking up. But we are going to be releasing a part two soon. I just got done paying up all the animators, and this is kind of like a new experiment. Some skits will work, some won't, but the ones that do work, those are the ones that I really look forward to working on again.
You've been attending conventions since 2005, you said, yes?
Yes.
Okay. I would love to hear your perspective of how conventions have changed. Around that time is when I started attending cons as well, but I've only ever gone to conventions in Canada, so my viewpoint is kind of narrowed down to just the development of 3 or 4 conventions over the years. You've traveled so much and you've attended so many different cons. What was the scene like several decades ago compared to today?
I think back then there was not a lot of social media. Back then there was a little bit of social media presence, but not as strong as it is nowadays. Everything is now more online. You have that online presence that you have, but back then it was more like if you're not here, you're not here. You can't attend online. But I think honestly, one thing that's really impressed me is how much the cosplayers have changed. They're using different techniques. Using different methods to make their cosplays. Some that even have like disfigurements. Like I know one cosplayer who basically had lost his eye actually uses that to kind of help. To actually he actually puts like a little glowing piece in his like socket to kind of look like a character from a Blizzard video game. And I know another guy that lost his arm, and he actually uses that to kind of like make a acidic zombie looking character, and it looks fantastic. So it's not just limited to the good looking or the popular cosplayers. It's everyone can cosplay. And that's the thing I like about this community is that they're very accepting of it. And obviously the cosplay community has really improved on a lot of techniques and methods that they use. Some uh, basically have done methods that I would have never thought of, and others basically did a method that was either outdated, but they actually made it work for this particular cosplay. So definitely the methods and the techniques and the complexity of the cosplays have grown so much, and that is something I absolutely love seeing. Like at MechaCon, the last MechaCon, forever because there's not going to be any more MechaCons in New Orleans. Two of my cosplay friends, Remy Domino Cosplay and Beku Cos, they dressed up as these two characters from My Hero Academia, and they actually had like these little glowing parts on their cosplays. Unfortunately, I didn't get it in time, but just seeing it on their social media presence, it just shows the intricacies of how much someone can do when they put their mind to it. Granted, it may be something they're not good at now, but with practice, they're going to get better at it, and it's just going to look better next time and next time. Even with body paint, you know.
I agree with you 100%. Just to see how exponentially better cosplay is, like, I remember, well, I was younger as well, so my expectations weren't very high, but I do know that, like, before YouTube was a big thing, there was still cosplay blogs that people would write about when they would attend conventions and cosplay meetups. So just to see those pictures with the articles that were being written up, that was great. But it seemed like cosplay was more endearing and cute back then. And now it's like, it's incredible. I never would have guessed cosplay would have been as good as it is today and as widespread as it is today. And it's not just the photographers have improved. Obviously, we have a lot of videographers now. Not so many blogs being written, but that's okay because everyone has a social media account where they can document their cosplay journey, and not just like the development of one cosplay or doing props, but also the fact that there are so many resources now and there are so many avenues for people to get those resources in such a period of time. I do remember a period when if you had three cosplays for the weekend, like a 3 day convention, that was amazing. Now we have people that they think nothing of having three cosplays, and they'll have another cosplay for the after party, and they may have a particular cosplay that's not too heavy handed, so they can do a particular shoot with a photographer. And that wasn't really a possibility back in the day. Now, cosplay still can be cost prohibitive at times, especially when you start getting to the quality of some of these amazing cosplayers. Some of the cosplayers I've seen on your channel, they look like they're straight out of a $300 million budget movie, but still, just to see what's so available to people today and to see what conventions look like today, it's incredible. And I really look forward to seeing how it looks like 5-10 years from now.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Like for me, it's obviously that cosplay is going to continue getting better and better. There's going to be new methods, new techniques that cosplayers are going to experiment with, and who knows? I mean, they're probably going to actually use like maybe holograms in the future. Who knows? But still, definitely, I look forward to seeing what the future of cosplay is going to look like, and I definitely look forward to documenting it.
Kevin, we need to get a ballpark number. Time, when it comes to creativity, is the most expensive currency, but money is also a big factor.
Mm-hmm.
How much have you invested in your business over the years? Do you think that the amount that you invested was necessary to where you are today? And do you think that you'll be investing at the same rate going forward?
I know, like with my new Ronin, like my, well, it's not real new, it's kind of old now, so I'll probably get a new Ronin, but I definitely probably say with the equipment, I try to get some new equipment every once in a while, like every year. Like right now, I'm actually about to start working on creating my studio in my second room in my apartment. Basically, I already got the backdrop. Well, not the backdrops. I'm about to get the backdrop soon, but the backdrop's going to be green, a green backdrop, a blue backdrop, black, white, and gray for photography, videography purposes. But I'm also going to get some lights. But definitely, if you're going to do something, you got to go bigger. You got to go home. But obviously, when you start off, you have to start with what you have. And the more you do and the more you work, whether it's inside or outside the convention scene, or if you have to get a full-time job to make your dreams a reality, that's what you have to do. For me, MD Anderson has allowed me to kind of live a lot of the lives I want to live. And thanks to the pandemic, I managed to rack up a lot of paid time off now. So I can actually go to these conventions and get paid by my company to actually do what I do. But not only that, but even doing client work for cosplay models and real estate agents and anyone else that has hired me has also been a chance for me to kind of use that money to travel and see a lot of these locations. It's just been truly amazing. But for me, I try to invest. If I need to spend, I try to spend as little as I can on a convention. Like if I can find some place to stay for free, I'll do it. If I have to spend money, I'll make sure it's the smallest amount possible. But sometimes you do have to break a couple of eggs to make the omelet.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you on that. I do think also like for me it was a little bit daunting some years back when me and my friends wanted to invest in camera equipment because we knew that like you can't record off of your iPhone 7 forever during that time. And even though you can do great things with the technology that we have, like you said, at some point you have to go big or go home. And I do think that when you start acquiring better gear and better software, better hardware, that you find yourself developing a working habit that is probably better for the kind of creative that you are. I know some people that like when it comes to music production, they do everything in the box, and that's fine for them. I know other people who've actually grown more in their career when they started having that hands-on control when they were using outboard gear. And I say whatever works for anyone. You know, like be open to every single style of creation. But yeah, I've known many people as well who just like, they see that cost and they can't balance it with even like the time invested with their full time job, or maybe they have another hobby and it's hard for them to actually commit and get better. Also, when it comes to creating content like this, it really is art, and the best way for an artist to get better is repetition. Time and time again, you have to keep on doing what you're doing. If you don't invest that time, you're never really going to develop, and you may actually start to diminish your skills over the time. For someone who makes as many videos as you, it's incredible because you must be getting like 4 hours of sleep a day between your freelance and your content. But again, some people they have to invest that time and money.
Actually, no. Like for me, I make sure to try to at least have a life. So for me, like normally, like nowadays, like obviously I work from 8 to 4. Um, but after that, I try to at least after that I have at least maybe an hour and a half to kind of take some calls and everything. But then I go work out at the gym. But I make sure to at least have 1 or 2 days where I can actually do the work. But aside from that, a lot of work doesn't really take me that long to really work on. It's just basically it's just putting it's like putting your butt down in front of the computer and actually doing the work rather than just going online and streaming movies or whatever. But aside from that, I just put my butt down on the chair and just get to work. It's all about doing that because the faster you're able to do it, the more you're able to have time to live a life and actually try to, you know, find a little bit more happiness outside of the computer screen and outside of the film gear.
So you don't find yourself getting distracted during the editing process, going on your phone, and then 20 minutes later you're like, "How did I watch all of these TikToks? I have to get back to this video." It seems like you kind of just are focused, razor point to what you have to do.
A lot of that has to do with the spectrum I have. Like for me, I have Asperger's, so I'm able to concentrate very well on this stuff, but I'm able to get projects done very quickly because it's like that level of obsession. Like I'm very OCD that way. But if I do like for me, like when I do edit, I will have something playing in the background on my flat screen, and it'll probably be a TV show I've seen a million times, and I don't have to actually watch it. I can actually just listen to it while I actually work on my projects. That's how I'm able to kind of go forward for that, whether it's a cosplay music video or anything. But when I actually need to listen, I actually put the headphones on and I start working on it. When it's done, I'll just add a little bit of coloring, make sure the audio sounds good in post production. But yeah, aside from that, it's just basically actually having kind of like uh, what you would call a ritual. So for me, my ritual is, you know, cutting the footage down to where it needs to be while the TV's playing a show I've already seen a million times. And when it's ready, I just start listening to the song and trying to find what the best, is. Should I make the video fast? Should I do time remapping? Should I have the video still be in slow motion for the scene? It really just depends on the song and how the cosplayer is moving with that song because the song and the video have to kind of go hand in hand. Or if it's a client video, I have to make sure that these shots reflect what the client wants.
Who are your inspirations?
Uh, I can't really say I have inspirations. For me, a lot of my friends inspire me to be the way I am. Like my friends Mean Mug, Juji Mar, Foxmas Prime Time, Real Tea Dragon are probably a lot of the friends that kind of really inspire me to kind of do the things I like to do. And a lot of that's actually panned out into having a career not only in cosplay videography, but just in normal videography. And now that I have passed my drone license exam, hopefully I'll be doing more drone videography uh, for hopefully some new clients.
So there's never a period of time when you kind of get stuck with your art style and you kind of feel like I want to edit in a different way. Maybe I'm going to see what these newer editors are doing. I want to kind of get a vibe of like what the cosplay scene is like in the UK maybe, and you want to see like UK artists who maybe do something a little similar to what you do, just to at least get a vibe of what the scene looks like, not necessarily to grab inspiration from them.
I think probably for me, like I wouldn't say it's inspiration, but I do take criticism. So for me, I'll probably show it to some close videographer colleagues I actually have a great amount of respect for, Mineral Blue being one of them. And I'll say, what can I do to make this better? Or if I need to talk to another cosplay videographer, I know a couple of them, I can ask them what they think they would like me to do better. Sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, have the cosplayer's name in the that." I'm like, "No, that's what he does. I don't want to do that. I actually want to like if it needs to be a faster video or I need to do it in multiple parts, I'll do that. But aside from that, I just do me. I don't really think. Um, I think the Joker said it best. He's like a dog chasing a car. He wouldn't know what he'd do if he caught one. I'm the same way. I just let things evolve naturally. But if I need to get, if someone has a criticism for me and what I can do better, I'll be happy to hear it.
Let's talk about Power Rangers.
Okay.
I can tell you're a very big fan.
Yes, I am.
Please tell us how this love for Power Rangers started and tell us about any of your interesting experiences that you've had with creating content amongst other fans, people who participated in the franchise. I would love to hear it.
Obviously, like for me, this all started for me in Orange, Texas, when I was in elementary school, and that's when the show first debuted and premiered. And me and my friends, kid friends, we were playing playing Power Rangers, like yeah, and it was always a good outlet for me, to actually watch these teenagers set aside their differences, whether it's their genders, their races, their beliefs, their social status, their economic status, whatever they set aside to do something bigger than themselves. And as I grew older, I definitely was bullied for not only watching that show, so I stopped watching it. But I got back into it when I went to Anime Expo back in 2000. Not when I went to my first Anime Expo in 2009. Met a lot of my friends, Chili Willy, Candace, Edgar, JC, Anthony, Jenny, uh, Christian, and a buttload of people at Anime Expo, and they kind of were into the Power Ranger scene, and they even told me about Power Morphicon, and I went to my first Power Morphicon in 2010, and a lot of that was where a lot of my friends, Andrew Kim, who runs Common, um, I can't remember the name of his YouTube channel. I really try to remember. Actually, hang on, maybe I can find it on here a second. Because I want to credit Common Ramen Studios. Common Ramen Studios. He and I collaborated together on some interviews, and he and I kind of became good friends from there. But I also got to talk to Airlim, aka Mark Smith, Ollie, otherwise known as Space Ranger 335 on Instagram. And these guys basically became like really great friends and colleagues and people who I know and trust. And it was these guys that actually got to be a part of my video. And Chili Willy helped me film these videos. And I started kind of getting more and more into the Power Ranger scene and kind of knowing who's out there I can go to make these cosplays, but who would want to be a part of these videos. And Mimug was one of those people, and he's the one that, and Mimug actually is the one that kind of inspired me to get a gold Zeo Ranger cosplay. And he and I actually did like a DDR contest where he actually won because he was the called the Black Ranger, and he actually had like the dragon shield, and we did a skit about that on my YouTube channel. But no, like it's definitely been a fun experience, and been so fun that I was part of Saban's Power Force for a little while, along with Jujimor and Mean Mug, and we got to go to the Power Rangers movie premiere, the 2017 Power Rangers movie premiere, and that was fun. It was very because we got to dress up and be all dapper and whatnot, and it was fun. But honestly, anytime I can actually hang out with anyone from Power Morphicon or the Power Ranger community and just reconnect or talk, it's always a fun time. And even like I'm still catching up with people online and doing occasional Google Hangouts, and uh, I'm still messaging them, seeing how they're doing and what whatnot. So yeah.
That's amazing. What an incredible community.
Oh yeah, no, like if it wasn't for Anime Expo 2009, I probably would not be on the current journey I'm on right now. So the Anime Expo '09 definitely was kind of like a happy accident, and I'm glad I met a lot of the California Power Ranger community because they kind of got me into doing more Power Ranger things, and I think I owe them a lot for that.
Wow. I've been in and out of Power Rangers throughout my life. I really, really, really loved the franchise growing up. I think about as a kid, I've always liked like anime and stuff and comic books, Power Rangers as well, and I think about the impact that it had, and even some of the friends that I have today, they'll still tell me about like their experiences growing up with Power Rangers, and they'll watch Power Rangers today, and like our conventions here, they'll like try and pick up merch and just talk to others. I don't think we have a scene as big and as close as what is out in Cali and so forth, but at the same time it's still great to hear about how this has grown with people and how it's brought people together at different points in their life. How would you recommend someone who wants to get back into Power Rangers, because it's huge, it's very deep? Where would you tell them to start if they wanted to invest themselves into this and grow with the scene? Should they maybe go to a convention first? Is it better for them to start from the Mighty Morphin series and work their way up? Maybe there are select franchises, select series that they should be watching.
I would just say, like any great story, you have to start from the beginning. As corny as Power Rangers was back in the day, it worked for the '90s. Obviously, Power Rangers nowadays has become a lot more complex in terms of cinematography, special effects, their stunt teams, and everything, and even the locations that they choose has become a lot more cinematic. But definitely start from the beginning. And if they want to go to a Power Ranger convention without really knowing much of the Power Ranger story, that's fine. Just go there to have fun, meet people. They can tell you a lot of different things, reasons why Power Rangers inspired them to be the way they are. In fact, a lot of the way I act and behave and even treat people is because of the show Power Rangers and the messages and the lessons that they instilled in me. And hopefully, if I have a kid one day, I'll be able to kind of show them that, along with Keenan and Kel, Are You Afraid of the Dark, and a couple of other cool kids' TV shows from the '90s.
There was something about those 90s shows. They hit so hard and they've all aged pretty well. Like, yeah, you point out some of the corniness here and there, but like they're all really well done, and I feel that I'm not sure what it is. Maybe because in the '80s, cinema was starting to go in a more darker direction. But like, just there are complexities to stories. It's not always just Monster of the Week. There is also like learning to love these five different characters, and they're more than just tropes. Even the supporting cast, like even if they're there mostly for comic relief, you actually care about them, and you see it with Power Rangers. You see it with a lot of like the stuff you saw on Cartoon Network, on YTV, certain animes from like the late '80s to like mid '90s. They had that kind of feel. They just aged really well, and it's like they understood that kids can not only take away a lesson from this that can stick with them forever, but the kids watching our shows, they don't just need flashing colors and loud sounds. We can also put effort into the story as well, and that's why I always go back to like '90s shows, and I really appreciate what they were making back then.
Yeah, no, like for me, I still continue. There's still times where I actually watch the '90s show. Like for me, around Halloween time, I kind of watch Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark, but also Tales from the Crypt and some other, scary TV shows and movies. But I always found like a lot of the earlier stuff definitely actually cared a lot about actual genuine horror, where nowadays it's kind of like shock value horror, which is kind of like, eh.
I feel you. I do like modern horror, but I think I like it just because like I do like pop music, flashy stuff. I do like the easily digestible mainstream sort of thing. But like I wouldn't say any of like modern horror films are really like in my top 10. Even like with suspense and thrillers, like things that really play on your emotions. I don't know. Like I feel a lot of them, they're great, but you don't remember them like you do remember like movies from the '80s and shows from like the '90s, like even the early 2000s that had those really, they relied on atmosphere to help unravel their story, and you were along for the ride from start to finish. It seems like a lot of times, and maybe I'm wrong on this, maybe you think differently, but I feel like they're just trying to go for great moments that you can like have clipped and people can remember, and it'll end up on YouTube and it'll be memed, and then you'll want to watch the movie. But it's not just about like individual great moments. I want something to be cohesive all the way through, and I don't always see that. It does exist in today's media, but not as much as what I was seeing 10 years ago, 8 years ago even.
Yeah, no, it seems like like there's still some original stories, ideas, and there's still some good movies out there. I'm not gonna lie. Free Guy, for instance, there was a lot of good, great moments in there, and some that actually surprised the living hell out of me. But still, definitely Free Guy was definitely a great film in my mind. Like there's movies that'll still kind of like some movies will just kind of be like it was okay, but other movies will go above and beyond. And the ones that go above and beyond, particularly in terms of expectations, if they like this is my expectation for Free Guy, and this is my expectations right here, just shatters it. Forget about it. That's a movie I want to see again and again and again and again. You know.
Yeah. No, I've heard some decent things about Free Guy. I want to see it. Our theaters still aren't quite open. Like there, some aren't open, some are half capacity, and that's something I want to see in theaters. So I'll have to wait a little
Definitely,
longer.
it's great. It's a good movie. You're not going to be disappointed. Trust me.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. What would you like to see from the cosplay scene throughout this next decade?
I want to see them continue to kind of go above and beyond cosplay, like just looks, ideas, and concepts. Just even like if it's like meshing two characters together, like one cosplayer. I can't remember his name, but he combined basically one of the masked characters from Mario with one of the characters from No Face, and it looked absolutely gorgeous. I'm sad I missed that, but I like it when they try to do things that I would never expect. That's something I would like to see more of. Just do something I won't expect and no one else would expect either.
Do you think that with the rise of TikTok and a lot of cosplayers migrating to that platform, especially some who've never gone to a convention, but they've discovered cosplay during this lockdown period, and TikTok is really their most creative platform to express themselves, do you think that that is going to add to the creativity of cosplay and they're going to start doing more interesting things, the melding of music, of makeup art, and even just like what an app can feature in order to enhance their cosplay?
I think so. I know like a couple of cosplay colleagues that I've sent cosplay clips to have actually used those clips on TikTok. So it's always a good thing. And I know I'm going to be uploading some new skits that I've uploaded this year to TikTok, and then uploading some of my current cosplay music videos for this season. So it's always a good way to kind of get more traction for your video in that sense, but also a good way to get you recognized and known in the community.
Maybe you have some insight on this. With the changes that Instagram has been getting lately, and with some of the questionable motives and maybe the uneasiness of working on subscription platforms, is TikTok the best direction for new cosplayers and even like content creators, videographers, directors to go in? I feel like maybe investing more time on that platform is better today than it is to invest on Instagram.
I think with TikTok, it's more of a comedy. It's definitely more geared towards comedy and creativity rather than just kind of just plain cost music video stuff. In my opinion, like if they want to kind of create something funny, they can be like that'd be something they can use in my mind. But definitely TikTok is more for not rather than just kind of posting normally like Instagram. TikTok is where you can actually try to take it a step further in my mind.
If you never discovered cosplay, if you never developed a love for directing and doing CMVs, what kind of person would you be and what would your life look like?
I'd probably still do video, but not cosplay. I'd probably just do work videos, just working for different companies, and I have worked for a lot of different companies over the last several years. MD Anderson is the current company I've been working with since 2018, and after next year, it'll be the longest job I've ever had. But yeah, no, like for me, I want to continue making videos and working with different clients and still trying to get my name out there and trying to work on different projects and different types of videos where it's not just medical or real estate, just other different types of projects that kind of expand a lot of horizons of what I can actually create for different types of viewership.
I'm not sure if you're part of a creative collective. I'm sure you have collaborators, but do you see yourself ever working on a very grandiose project with other creatives in the scene something that maybe you've never done before, whether it's a movie or ongoing theater production or something even outside of cosplay? Like, do you see yourself getting to that point where you want to do something huge that's outside of the realm that you currently inhabit?
With my time schedule and everything, I'd probably say it's easier to work on a smaller project like a YouTube video or something that's 5 to 10 minutes long. And I can do something like that. That's not going to take too much of my time, particularly with my job and my client workload and even my YouTube channel. That'd probably be the easiest thing to work on rather than something grand scale, if that makes any sense.
It does. It does. That's something I do like to ask creatives, though, because I know some people. There's someone who I actually interviewed last week who is releasing her first film soon, and she went to school for film, and a lot of that is based off of her love off of YouTube. While she was making YouTube videos for a while, she kind of had like this pining for creating something bigger. And it's not to say like she wanted to leave YouTube alone, but she realized that she could work with other YouTubers and they can attempt to make a movie, and that's something that they ended up doing. So it's just interesting to hear from like other creatives, like kind of what they have in mind for the future, whether it's themselves when it comes to the creation process or with others in their field.
Okay. Yeah, no, like for me, like I definitely know, like if I have a lot more time, I'm down to probably maybe do something bigger. But right now, the smaller projects are fine with me right now.
Time. If only there was 2 more hours in the day.
If
Oh,
only.
maybe four. I could go for four, but just 2 hours more. I know I can get a lot more done. What are a few of your favorite Power Ranger series?
I can definitely say the top five. Power Rangers Z is definitely the top one. Uh, let's see. Power Rangers RPM is second. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is third. Power Rangers Time Force is fourth, and I like Power Rangers Dino Charge. I think those are probably the top five for me.
What about those stand out amongst all of the others that you've watched over time?
With Zio, I like the fact that the costume designs were great. The villains were amazing, and even bringing back an original MMPR Ranger, Jason as the Gold Ranger, was definitely a good touch. Um, with RPM, they did it very differently in terms of storytelling, but also in terms of how the characters interact with each other, and they actually give a backstory with each character. That's something I really appreciated, and also costume designs were pretty amazing. Mighty Morphin, come on, no need to really explain that. Time Force, I love the story of it, but I also felt it had a lot more at stake in terms of time and space. And Dino Charge, definitely, it was great to see that kind of show, particularly with one of the actors who is a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger fan and cosplayer actually becoming a Power Ranger. That's one of the reasons why I like the show a lot.
Nice, nice. Yeah, something about Power Rangers that just over the years there were so many great stories that really hit well. Like for me, like I really liked like Lightspeed Rescue for me, just because I had like a huge car thing going on for me at that time, and just seeing Lightspeed Rescue, I like the format of it. It was really great. Like Wild Force also was interesting. Wild Force was kind of like it was just like the costumes got so much better over time, and I just liked the stories. And like you said, like maybe I couldn't pick it up when I was a kid, but I noticed like, oh, like this feels a little bit more like it's darker. It feels like it's more there's something at stake, and I like that a lot. I really like that a lot. Power Rangers is something that it's come in and out of my life, like I said, but it's great to see like it's never left for you, even though like there was a period of time where you were getting picked on for liking it. But screw that noise, man. Like it's a huge part of your life, and you've done so much for and with other people in the community, so it's great to see that. And it's really great to also hear you talk about Power Rangers so extensively.
Yeah, like for me, it's always something I'm gonna always have it be a part of my life, and there's no way it's gonna go away anytime soon.
Kevin, I want to say thank you so much for sitting down with me. This was a very great interview. It was really enlightening, and I am grateful for everything that you shared. Thank you so much.
Of course, man. Anytime. Thank you for having me.
Do you have any parting tips for new directors, content creators, cosplay fans?
Um, when you make a video for YouTube, that video is you. That video represents you. That is your channel. This is your content. Make it your own. That's really my words of advice.
That's good advice. Thank you. And is there anything that you would like to plug before I let you go?
Obviously, I want to thank obviously my mom and dad, Olivia and Eric, for being the best parents possible and raising me and teaching me right. My best friends, MeMug713, check out his Twitch channel, Juji Mar, Fox in his prime time, and a lot of my Power Ranger fans and friends. I really appreciate you guys supporting me over the years. And aside from that, just yeah, excited to have a lot of very great supportive people in my life.
I look forward to seeing more of your work. You're very talented, and once again, thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome.
This was Kero Riri Paddle. Thank you guys for coming by. Take care, y'all.